Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak at this year's Central Europe Day of Energy. You have chosen an excellent topic in offshore wind. We are now just 2 weeks on from the adoption of our EU strategy on offshore renewable energy. Right now, about 1/5 of the EU's energy comes from renewable sources. By 2050, we will see a huge change. Renewables must power most of our climate-neutral economy. Replacing coal, lignite and natural gas will take massive amounts of green electricity. And many countries, in particular those of you in Central Europe, are already phasing these out or will in the future. Offshore energy, and wind in particular, can give us the push we need towards our targets, both in speed and scale. We have set our sights on 300 gigawatts of offshore wind and 40 gigawatts of ocean energy across the EU's sea basins by 2050. Already by 2030, we want to increase offshore wind capacity at least 5 times to 60 gigawatts and produce at least 1 gigawatt of ocean energy. Scaling up in this way and bringing larger volumes of renewable energy will fundamentally change our electricity and energy sector. Not least because we need a fully integrated energy system as a basis. Planning needs to take priority. We are looking at many more sites for production, connections to the power grid, and reinforcement of the grid to direct the flow to the places where it is needed. And we need to make sure that we are not planning in isolation. Think basins, not borders. Cooperation must look beyond national interests and towards a regional and sea basin approach. This is something where Central Europe already excels. Beginning 15 years ago with energy security of supply and market integration, including the long-standing Baltic synchronization priority. In the 5 past years, it has expanded to the clean energy transition, and this trend will intensify with the Green Deal and Climate Target Plan for 2030. Having trusted fora to discuss and debate the issues will give rise to this regional approach. They already exist in the form of regional high-level groups, BEMIP for the Baltic Sea, CESEC for Central and Southeastern Europe, and cooperation schemes such as the 3 Seas initiative. In September, I endorsed, together with the governments of the BEMIP members, a declaration of intent on cooperation for offshore renewables and creating the Baltic Sea Offshore Grid initiative. Work has started on a dedicated work program for the initiative to follow in the spring of 2021, with the view to cost-efficiently use the offshore wind potential of the Baltic Sea, estimated at 93 gigawatts. CESEC is also embracing this dynamic. At the last ministerial meeting in September, offshore renewables were identified as promising renewable energy sources deserving increased attention. In the same spirit, 2021 will see a high-level European offshore conference. Our hope is to bring together members of the existing regional cooperation formats to share best practice and common challenges. Energy is one aspect of offshore wind. Economy is another. The industry supporting offshore renewable energy is pan-European. Even landlocked countries without direct access to the sea are part of the growing value chain. Wind turbine components are manufactured in Czech Republic, Austria, and inland regions in Spain, France, Germany, and Poland. The sector includes hundreds of operators, many of which are SMEs. Today, the offshore wind industry employs 62,000 people and ocean energy about 2,500. There is potential for much more, which is of course especially relevant as we recover from the pandemic and its economic impact. The EU Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism will support offshore wind development. It will increase the supply and the demand, tap into the collective renewable energy potential, and lower the support cost, and make it easier for member states to work together. In addition to the mechanism, the €750 billion Next Generation EU package, with a recovery and resilience facility as its key instrument, will reinforce the EU's long-term budget. This will help front-load financial support for reforms and investments. To meet the 30% climate mainstreaming target of the new MFF and recovery package, 37% of the recovery and resilience facility will need to be spent on climate-related investments. In other words, €249 billion will be available for climate-related investment. Two of its flagships refer directly to energy. One of them is Power Up and includes front-loading future-proof clean technologies and the development and use of renewables, as well as their integration through modernized networks and connectivity. I hope to see member states use these instruments to the best of your ability to accelerate your investments in clean energy projects. Ladies and gentlemen, I end my remarks here. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's discussions.